I don't have to have 7 podcast shows running. So why am I doing that? Why am I experimenting so hard if I don't have to? And it's because I can always envision what I could do with more. Like that's something that keeps me going and striving for higher levels. Yes, I am happy with my life at present, but I have an image in my head of what a certain dollar amount allows me to do more, you know? Or like what greater heights my art can achieve. You know, like what greater usage of my time and my voice and my unique capabilities might exist out there. I don't know. You know, maybe like I can look at commentaries and go, "Oh, that seems like something that I'd be great at," you know? And what if that turns out to be something people really love from me? But then if it's not, then it's not. You know, there's only one way to find out, and that's to do it. So I always want to keep experimenting and figuring out like what is the art that people are really going to value from me, that I'm really going to value doing, and also what might make me more money, you know? And to talk about some of the visions I have of like what would life be like with lots of money. I just want to be able to do whatever I want at the drop of a hat. You know, like that's kind of my goal is like if I'm in a place and there's a thing to do, I want to be able to do that thing. I want to be able to say like let's say I go to a fancy restaurant, right? Like I notice I'm in town. Let's say I'm oh boy, let's say that me and May went to a movie downtown in the heart of Rochester, and next to the theater is an expensive restaurant. First of all, I want to, without hesitation, be like, let's go to that restaurant because I want to know what it's like. I want to know what this fancy restaurant's like. I don't like. I want it to be so that I don't say that place seems expensive. Let's go to the one next door. I want to go like, no, let's go to the one that I'm curious about, you know? And then when I'm in there, I want to look at their menu and see that they have a house wine. You know, a bottle of wine for $28. That's their house wine, their special that they highly recommend. And I want to be able to say, give me that wine without thinking about what that means. Not to say that I wouldn't even do this now. Every once in a while I will. I'll fliff, you know, and that's how you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to fliff. But when you're someone like me who just craves more experiences, who craves being able to do everything and just cram every house wine down my throat, I want to be there every night, you know, ordering everything on the menu. I want to try all of it, you know, all of what they've got to offer. And I want to go there and I want to get the house wine. And the only reason I usually don't when we go out, because me and May do go out all the time, and the only reason I never order the wine is because I have to drive home. I want to have someone drive me home. Either that means I've got the money to Uber everywhere, or it means I have a paid driver. You know, I'm talking about a far-flung fantasy here. I'm not talking about this is what I do next year on YouTube revenue. You know, like this is me talking about how if I figure out the ultimate gimmick, like if I figure out what is the thing that will charge me to the top of the charts, you know, what is going to make me a big famous man. I'm not counting on this to happen, but I'd like this to happen. Is for me to have the kind of money, the Uber everywhere money, you know, the hired driver money. Now I'm big into delegation, and I'm also into like dedicated staff. You notice I only have one editor. It's the Devu. I have the Devu because he works really fast. He knows exactly what I'm looking for, and he loves my content, so he'll keep doing it, you know? And he works like for like his living wage. All he cares is that it's a living wage, essentially. You know, like he does a lot of work for the amount of money he gets. And I don't know if he could get paid more by somebody else, but I'm paying him as much as I basically can, you know, as much as I can justify. And it's enough for him. So he's still working for me, you know? And that's me wholesale employing someone. That's not, Devu doesn't have any other revenue source. You know, he's not a guy who is just like doing this in his spare time. I am paying his whole living wage. And I like that. I really like that idea of having dedicated people. When I lived in the Philippines for a month with my friend Ghost Lightning, when I was living in his house, they had their family, because he lived with his wife's parents. Like they were in the same house as his wife's parents, because in Asian countries you usually have like a bigger family in your house. You don't move out of your parents' house so easily. So he lived with his wife and her parents, and they're a pretty well-off family. His wife worked for his wife's mom worked for the government, and his wife was a lawyer. He was doing all kinds of shit. So like they're a decently well-off family. But like his wife's uncle, I think that's who he was. He was someone related to the family, was just employed by the family to drive them around. Like they just had this guy in a car, and he would just, if they wanted to go somewhere, he would drive them there, and then he would go find somewhere to park the car, and then he'd just kind of wait around for them to be done, and then come back and pick them up, And basically he just did this in exchange for a living wage. Like, they pay this guy, they take care of it. He lives at home, he lives there. He's taken care of because he drives the family around, because they need someone to do that. They're all, like, they can't afford to have, like, it's less expensive than all of them having cars. They live in a really huge metro area, and they have to get around all over the city all the time, Like, so why not just have a guy who is just dedicated to that? That is that guy's career, is to just drive this family around. And that's not even weird or unreasonable if you could afford it. And I want to be able to afford that. I want to be able to afford to just wholesale be the boss of, like, people who just do a thing for me. I don't have to be their only guy. I don't have to be their sole employer, if it's something that they can afford to do for multiple people, Like, I would encourage the Devou, like, I don't necessarily rely on him to be able to edit as much as he does. Like, he could edit less for me and get paid less, and it wouldn't hurt me. It would only hurt him. If Devou told me, oh, I'm going to edit for you and another guy, and each of you can pay half my living wage, I'd be fine with that, But, like, it's just a situation we're in right now where, he's just working for one guy. But, like, if I had to pay off a whole living wage to somebody, like, that's fine. I just want to be able to hire people to do things, because I love delegation, because there's things I'm fucking bad at. I've got this fucking letter in front of me from a doctor saying that I owe $18 to something, and, like, it had a pay online thing, but the fucking website was too confusing, and I gave up, and I was like, when am I ever gonna pay this? Like, when will I ever enclose this in an envelope, figure out how to write a check or whatever the fuck I have to do to pay this, and send it? Like, I got a fucking mail in, like, September from the IRS saying I still owe them $1,000, and that there would be, like, a 4% interest rate, and I need to get them this $1,000 or whatever. And I didn't know why. Like, there's no information about why I still owe them the money. So I just haven't done it. Like, I just haven't sent the money because I wanted to call them, but I haven't. And, like, I should be someone should be doing this for me. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to account, I fucking, every year when I have to do my taxes, I have to foolishly go back through my bank statements and try to, like, calculate what first of all, figure out what the hell these expenditures are, because they don't say what they are. They just say where the expense was made. I don't know where I spent this money. I can't figure out what is write-offable or not. Like, I just want to be able to pay a guy to just check my emails and talk to my fucking sponsors and whoever, and fucking talk to my fucking bank and all these people, the fucking IRS, and just pay this stuff for me. Just take my money and give it to these people. That's your job. You transport my money to the people who need it, because I can't fucking do this shit, and I need someone to do that for me. But I can't afford the cost of that right now, like, without it impacting my life. Like, I want to be able to live my life to the fullest while also being able to pay these people and also still saving money. Like, I could probably afford an accountant and still live the way I do, but I would be, spending all the money I make as opposed to saving a huge amount of it as I have been doing. So, like, I just want to be able to do that. And that's what keeps me experimenting. That's what keeps me shooting for the next big thing. Keeps me going like, oh, yeah, life is great right now. Life is fucking amazing right now. But imagine what I could do if I could just Uber everywhere. Imagine what I could do if I had like, imagine if I was so rich I had a fucking private jet, you know, and I could fly across country whenever I fucking felt like it. Or if I just, you know, just all these little things. The fuck off money. I want the fuck off money, you know? I don't even know why. I don't even know if it'll be fun. Like, and all of that is just so I can experiment more. It's all just so I can experiment with what's it like to do those things. Like, I hate flying, so I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I fly to a few countries and then I go, all right, well, I'm not that into this. Like, you know, I like being in the countries, but the flying sucks. You know, if I had enough money, I can figure out what I'm passionate about. I can figure it out just by experimenting and doing everything there is in the world, you know? I'm also big into experimenting with, like, mind state, which is why I'm so, you know, adamant about, like, just going headlong into drugs and stuff, like, smoking so much pot so I can figure out what benefits it has, like, what is better when high, what is worse when high, what is better when drunk, what's worse when drunk, what's better on, we haven't taken them yet, but May's Connections, got us some, I don't want to say anybody's, like, I don't want to say who's responsible for getting it, you know, but let's just say that 2 Adderall pills have spawned in my house, and because both of us are, like, kind of like autistic ADHD people, we're really curious about what it'll do to us. So, you know, and I just want to know so that if I take this pill and then I'm like, oh fuck, this is how I'm supposed to be thinking, like, I should feel this way all the time, then maybe I can go and, you know, go to a doctor and get prescribed. Like, if I take it and I think, oh, this is the state of mind like, this will save my life, you know, how will I know unless I do it? You know, how would I have known if pot was going to be a good or a bad thing until I tried it, you know? So that's why I always want to experiment, you know? You'll never know what your favorite food is if you haven't tasted it, you know? And it might turn out your favorite food is some fucking weird shit that you never expected or never even heard of.